14. Let's check in with Dave.
And Bill, everyone's been watching the weather here, including Carl Edwards and his team. This was their radio chatter on the subject moments ago.
Earlier this morning it said 100% chance of rain starting at 6 p.m. Said 80% chance until 6, so keep an eye out.
Guider wanted me to let you know that those clouds you see out there, they can be described as a stratocumulus cloud, Carl.
I don't know if that's exactly correct. Could be. If it starts raining, they'd be cumulonimbus, I believe.
I just hope we accumulate at least half of the laps of this race, Bill. That's all I know.
And he's a pilot. He should know, shouldn't he?
Yeah, he watches it a lot, and it matters today.
Carl Edwards in that 99 car.
If it starts raining, wouldn't it be a rain cloud?
That's what I would think. Carl, the defending champion of this race. His last victory came here 1 year ago. Now, since this race has officially started and 3 laps are complete, guess what? Jimmie Johnson is now the championship leader. Because Matt Kenseth starts so deep in the field right now, Johnson is the championship leader, Hamlin is second, and Kenseth is third. Pace car to pit road, yellow flag, back in its stand, waiting for the green flag to wave here at Texas. Race number 8 in the chase for the championship.
Wow, check out Kurt Busch in that 2 car.
Kurt comes from third to lead the first lap.
Oh, Gilliland sandwiched in there. Robbie Gordon, thankfully, backs off and gives him the spot, or that could have been ugly.
That could have been very ugly very soon.
Kyle Busch in that 5 car was paying attention, so he didn't run over Robbie. Tony Stewart in the 20, last week's winner. There's Robbie in the 7. Elliott Sadler, who started outside the front row in the 19 car.
That 19 car is working his way back towards the back.
Yeah, well, I think right now, especially with the track conditions, the bottom is the place to be. That's where I think everybody needs to get right now.
In other words, Elliott Sadler does not want to be where he is.
No, he's trying to find a spot to get down, but nobody's been polite enough yet to... There you go. Casey Kane, his teammate, gave him a break.
On board with Casey. Dale Earnhardt Jr. right behind him. Drivers in yellow on the ticker at the top of the screen are the 10 men in the chase for the Nextel Cup. There you see the updated points as they run right now. And a big shift early because Kenseth had to start 36th. And has worked his way up to 32nd.
And there, BP, what you were explaining on that Home Depot garage, you see Earnhardt got right out in the back of that 9 cars bumper. It loosened up Casey a little bit, which slid him up the racetrack, and it's exactly what that showed when we showed it. Marty, what's going on with the 8? Because right now he's going forward.
Exactly, Wally, and that's what they expect to do for most of the day. I talked to Tony Eury Jr. this morning. He said, we expect to see the same race today that we saw last week in Atlanta. Our car, same one we ran there. We think the tires will handle the same way they did there. And then that race, they ran up front for most of the day, doing what they're doing right now, going forward, currently 9th.
But as we saw in Atlanta, remember, his car was really, really good at the get-go, and then that car fell off after some laps. So we'll just have to see if it's the same here at Texas.
David Gilliland in that 38 car started up front, but he's hanging in pretty well. Best run he's had in Nextel Cup races so far in his very abbreviated career.
Kyle Busch on board looking at Gilliland in the 38. Here's Dave.
And that young driver has a veteran crew chief in Todd Parrott. Spoke with Todd this morning about their up front starting position. He felt very confident based on the way David's been running the mile-and-a-half tracks the last couple of weeks. Not always with the finishes, but running very well, and felt like they could hold their position early on in the race.
That's 6th and 7th right there.
There we go. Got him a little bit loose in the corner.
Junior's going to try and follow him through underneath. Oh, Gilliland knows he's there. Here's Junior playing with the accelerator, gets out of the gas, then gets back in.
Yeah, you can't run this racetrack flat. What you do is you go down the corner here, you roll out of the throttle, you let the car roll about to the center, then you start picking up the gas again, and then you really hammer the throttle as you're coming off the corner.
Down the backstretch. Jr. fourth in the championship standings. Currently runs in the 7th spot.
A couple of good-sized bumps down there in 3 and 4 BP that the guys are got to be careful on. When you get down on those bumps, you've got to be real careful what you're doing with that steering wheel and the throttle, because it can upset the car.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be on the throttle wide open and turn in the car and go through a bump, because it will spin out.
Pit road report from Matt Yoakum.
3 to go, Bill, and the 11 team and Denny Hamlin, they brought their moneymaker car, the car that swept both races at Pocono, here to Texas. Very optimistic, but early on the car extremely tight. He has lost 6 spots here in the early going. Dave?
And Matt, the 5 car of Kyle Busch right now being challenged by Dale Earnhardt Jr. One of the places Jr. may be able to pass is from the center off the corner. Right now, Kyle's reporting that his car doesn't turn well at that spot. There goes Jr. Marty?
And Dave Wally and those guys were talking about the bumps, especially in 3 and 4. Junior doesn't like the bump in 1 and 2, Wally. So what he does, he tries to stay as low as he can. He said if you're 4 feet off that bottom white line in 1 and 2, you'll really hit that bump. If you're a little below that, you can kind of avoid that major bump in 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's a big bump down there, Marty. That'll make your CD player skip, won't it?
Exactly, and I'm sure Junior's just skipping right now because he's a little off that white line. You see that bump right there on the in-car camera as he went through it.
Junior in 6th. Then it's Kyle Busch, Casey Kane, David Gilliland, and Scott Riggs. Started under the green and yellow. Then we got the green flag. Kurt Busch started 3rd, led the first lap, and has led basically all of them since we went true green flag racing. He's led more laps today than in his 7 prior races here at Texas. He's out.